posturing and threatening and questioning my right to be mad. Well, let them come for me or my people and watch the upheaval rain down. Just let them come. Can't stand in the shadows much longer. The battle is getting warmer. Let them come. Let them come. When I'm standing here waiting on the war cry, while the choppers circle around in my red sky, fly ashes, sweat ashes. The discourse is no more. We pass it on to another dawn, similar to past lives. If you knew your history, then you could probably transcribe what's happening down to the millisecond. The revolution is ever present, and steady on a constant stream. The only thing that ever changes are the hues on the screen. The same scenes come through on the local news. It ain't the German shepherds now, it's the principles and the pastors too, and the local crews, and the mother, cousin, grandmother closest to you. They got our whole generation. It's a new strange fruit, thinking they brought us for a birthright. Down while their lights bright, posturing and threatening and questioning my right to be mad. Well, let them come for me or my people and watch the upheaval rain down. Just let them come. Can't stand in the shadows.
Peace, Misfits. We are coming to you from Manhattan. We are standing on 34th Street, and this is a new chapter for the eXcape theory. I've been chilling for a while. There are actually several episodes that we were supposed to make sure got out to everybody, but I've been on a journey, as I'm sure many of you have as well. So now we begin anew. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the importance of the open mic. It's going to be awesome. We have Rebecca Dupas and Verbatim Monday. We have Shawn Michaels and Thursday Bliss. We have Tiffany Linnell and Bare Soul, and we have Love the Poet and Be Free Fridays. All four of these open mics are unbelievably amadamorphous, and I'm happy that everybody is going to finally be able to see them in case you've never attended. After you see them, I'm fairly certain you're going to make sure that you get down to the DMV and support every single one. Now, of course, the importance of the open mic is going to be a series. I definitely plan to show you different excuse me. I really plan to show you different events going on here in New York, in Baltimore, in DC, in Philly. We'll even travel across the country. Just you can get an idea of how awesome the open mic scene really is. So let's go. We're about to enjoy this and these new chapters of me living in New York. Are you ready? Here we go. Verbatim Monday has actually been featured on the eXcape theory before. So all of you are very familiar with Rebecca Dupas. She's also someone who has graced the stage at Storytellers on many occasions, as well as being the only artist to ever feature every year for Storytellers. So of course, if I was going to do the importance of the open mic, I needed to be able to showcase the talents of not only Rebecca Dupas, but of the audience that gets on stage and tells their story at Verbatim. So now I'm going to take you to Verbatim Monday so you can get a taste of everything that Rebecca Dupas has to offer at Peace and a Cup of Joe. Let's go.
It means a great deal to me. I call it my adult fun. As an educator, I spend too much time with young people. And I look forward to this opportunity to really fellowship, with like minds, so to speak. But it gives me an opportunity to live vicariously through others, to share whatever struggle or joys I might experience, and be reminded that we all share a very similar experience, that we're not alone in our struggles. It's a humbling experience too to know that we're not alone in our joys. But I think that it's extremely important. The open mic experience helped me to find my voice. It's not to say that I didn't have one before poetry, but I didn't have one this strong. And so, I'm inspired to write. I'm inspired to share. I'm inspired to be more bold than I would normally. You find me in a different setting and I'm rather quiet. I prefer my corner. I don't want too many people looking at me or talking to me. But in the open mic, I get to sort of pull out that other side. So I think it's extremely important. And I think that it could pull on other people the way that it pulled on me. Make them write, make them perceive, make them share. I I want to ride shotgun through life with you. Your hands on the 10 and 2, my chair recline, all trust in you. I don't question your sense of direction. Prideful men ain't stopping for gas station attendant corrections. GPS interjections lead us. Commonsby album blaring through the speakers. We ride with the sunroof open. Subwoofer thumping. We watch the stars. But baby, even they aren't as high as we are. I watch him over there driving with a swagger. His seat in the back seat, dark shades and the shoulder lean. I wonder how he sees, but I'm not complaining. He's got my favorite artist in the chamber. We relax, took her in Bailey, then he throws in Lil Wayne's latest. He bobs his head, so I mirror his actions. The music is too loud for verbal interaction, so every now and again we lock eyes. He makes a beat on my inner thigh. I sigh, smile, because I never felt safer. Never felt farther from danger than when I'm beside him, my hand beneath his on the stick shift. I pretend to guide him. He says, wait, have I ever steered you wrong? I smile and I say no. Never when I was with him was I hesitant to go. Never asked him to change his pace or to move slow. Never really desired to go any other way than his. Never was his backseat driver. He hates that shit. I let him lead. Trust that he has the best interest for me. I want to see the world as long as we're seeing it together. This man's got traction for any weather. No roadblock, no detour could ever rustle his feathers. He's got this coolness that fascinates my senses. He approaches life with no pretense. He says, baby, I'll pick you up at 8. I had a good day. I want to celebrate. I tell him, baby, I had a long day. Please, just take me away and we ride. Whether in the Jetta or the G35, whether we dine out or watch hip-hop DX all night, place me at his side. I'm not concerned with how these other dudes drive. They be flossing with chrome and navigation, AM, FM, radio stations, kits and speed racing, but I'm staying. Place me shotgun at his side on leather seats and bun warmers, tight grip so I don't slip when we turn corners. Baby, take me away. Drive until night becomes day, until the wheels against the pavement have wrestled me to sleep. You can go anywhere that you want, baby, as long as you're taking me.
It's such a simple question, but I mean, so many things come to mind. But for me, it's a wonderful opportunity, for us to, express our own selves. Like one of the things I always say is like, when you do art, whether you rhyme, whether you do poetry, whether you sing or whatever, these forums are one of the few places where if you're an artist, people who don't know you from Adam actually are willing and actually desirous, to hear whatever you have to say or ingest whatever you want, to give them, artistically. And it's a beautiful thing to have these opportunities, to express ourselves and then experience the synergy of seeing different talent, because there's so much talent, in Baltimore, in the underground, and then it's like the underground and the underground, of all the people we know, there's so many cats that, we don't even know for yet. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to have all these, all these opportunities. And it's, I know it's like a healing for me, like I put it in a poem I wrote, but like one of my favorite singers is Anita Baker. She has a song called Talk to Me, and the hook to the song is like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you tell me what you're going through? And for me, that's what the art is. The art is like, the art is always there. Like when I wanna go into my artistic space on a personal level, it's always there. I might, my lady, her phone might be dead, or she might be at work, or whatever, whatever the case may be, or my, my people, they don't always there, but really, for me, next to Allah, the Creator, the Most High, by whatever name, just always there. For me, the art, the art thing is always there. Next to the Most High, it's one of the few things that's always there. Having these opportunities is, it's a beautiful thing for me personally, and hopefully I can do my part and pass it on, to the next man or woman.
As they fought over situations asinine and insipid, this jacked up mama hen told them to grow up and be women, to get on her level. At first glance, this makes sense since she's old, but realizing that if Jackie looks in the mirror and considers herself glorious in her womanhood, well then how do they define woman? They define you as catty, tearing down hearts and souls with wrecking balls made from hurt feelings and fishiness. We create our temples only to hand some similarly evil XX and weave XX chromosome and weave-wearing female the mallet, broken down before the grand opening. They define you as lowbrow, not concerned with the weighty matters of the world like hunger, money-making, and world peace. Leave that to your man. Worried only with the addition of much bling and much of man's money to blow on it. And speaking of man, catch you spending the cash of those who would as soon throw it up in your face as throw you out of their lives completely. Funny how none of these housewives are married. They define you as undeserving of healthy relationships. And if that itself is an assumption, one must simply look at those with whom you surround yourself. From the woman birthing twins to a man who left her, to the friend suddenly turning who reminds her of being a non-motherfucking factor. The path you fly with leaves you high and dry-eyed when the tears are all cried out. And they define you as obsessed with spotlight, willing to do most anything to extend your 15 minutes of fame into an hour plus of foolery. Including but not limited to showing your hood rat tendencies for the Viacom boardroom's preserved I told you so amusement. Overturning tables in pricey restaurant and wearing clothes that just don't fit. Ready to step into the role of train wreck to keep the rumor mills churning, building monuments to vitriol out of Twitter hashtags. Excuse me, VH1, Jackie Christie, and Associated Circus acts, but I respectfully deny your amalgamation of my womanhood. Such an honor is full of plans stuck together with nothing more solid than wishes and trident sometimes. Legs both forged steel and shaking sapling. Mind that attacks Scrabble, equations, and playground games of it with the same competitive intensity. I will not be defined by your view of my femininity, any more so than I will have someone in my space defined by your view of masculinity, simply absent. We are not all vapid any more than they are all shit. Some of us are vastly unconcerned with being on anyone's level other than the ones that we create for ourselves. We will inhale thesauri in newspapers. We will embrace consumerism with the money that we earn honestly, and we will love hard and equally, pushing him to the limits of his potential as we push ourselves to our own. So Mama Hen, while you are concerned with the navel-gazing and level jumping of barnyard chicks half your size and your age, perhaps you should test out your soapbox for steadiness. I hope you are secure, because I am secure on mine.
All right.
Much of it is attributed to the bass man, Walter Maxfield Jones, Lil Mike, my partners at Warm Wednesdays. That was my baby. It still is. I hosted there for 3 years. And like most situations, and I think we're supposed to grow or go down whatever our path is, I was inspired to start my own venue, and I feel like Verbatim is very much Rebecca DuPont in a sense. Very much down home country in the living room, sharing some poetry. So when the opportunity presented itself, it was Conversation with Love the Poet, I grabbed it. And I wanted to create a safe space. Not that other open mics are not safe space, but I know what my definition of safe space is. And apparently that works for people. So I wanted something to call my own. And so Verbatim Mondays, where the poet gives it to you word for word.
The open mic experience is an invaluable tool in sharpening your sword. That's the way you know what works and what does not work. That's the way you learn to gauge a crowd, to gauge your delivery of a poem, your writing style. That's where you come to get inspired. That's where you come to connect with other poets. That's where you come to grow. Open mic is like a garden. You got a whole bunch of different kinds of flowers growing, and they all have different petals and colors and things like that, but they all need that same soil, which is the open mic, to nurture their roots and to be rooted. And whether you grow up to be a dandelion, or I don't even know what a dandelion looks like, when you grow up to be a tall tree, you know, the open mic is where you're first rooted and you get everything you need, and then you can go off and blossom into whatever it is that you're going to make. Invaluable, invaluable. I wouldn't recommend anyone skipping their training. It's like boot camp for poets. You know, anybody who's seen Poetry Jam and, you know, BET and blah blah blah, the open mic is where you hone your craft. I wouldn't be who I am without it. Bang my chest, and then I know why. I know why it took some years. Some blood, ink, and tears to quilt these very complex pictures. And y'all are cool, but I'm not at all quick to claim none of y'all in these very honest scriptures, because I was coloring these blues before I knew any of you. And when these journal entries got heavy, they held me down before they moved any of you. It was some things I was already used to before it was cool to. Way before HBO. This ain't all for props and applause, for dropping jaws or draws. For me, it's business as usual. I don't write for you. And this ain't another write for a piece, because we all have them. And I don't write for peace, I don't write for the streets, or only write towards the east, or some other bullshit that sound tight deep so you buy more CDs. For me, this is so much realer than that, I'm sure. And I'm sure that my pen is mightier than any sword. My pen is really an axe that turns wooden trees to paper bridges so I can get my point across these troubled waters. Now, the point of the cross is the point towards the Lord, and they told me they knew him. But the more they shouted, the more I found out they only knew hymns, and I don't like the song. No, I don't want to just sing along. I decided to write my own, and I've been alone, been a poem ever since, and free-forming, 5-line haiku. This is what I am, not just who I do. I don't write for you, because through these stanzas and prose, I can translate those heavy bass noises bouncing between my temples. I can underwrite the sound of overpounded instrumentals into beautiful therapeutic music using graffiti ink medicine, because honest expression is a poet's prescription, can prevent insanity, escapism, depression, and addiction, help you escape the prison of secrets that just don't feel right. You as a little brother, you as a younger sister, may remember what that feels like, because it's nightmares that can live behind that child's innocent bright stares. Can't sleep at night, scared I couldn't carry it, couldn't put it down, I'm drowning. Write it down, put my pen to it, helps me get through it. And every morning I would pray. Now I was praying the wrong way, but I didn't know that till later on in the day, because I was only 12 with a story to tell. And I was only 12, so it wasn't that well written. And I was only 12, so I ain't had nobody to very well listen, but I ain't had no lights on the stage. All I had were the lines on the page. So late at night in a rage, I would yell with my right hand, and the page would never reply. Never claim to understand or try to pacify, and the page will never lie. And I have moved people with poems, but you ain't a poet. Till you read what you wrote, and you cry. Now I know why I feel so alive reciting. It's because I have died writing. Indent my index finger from gripping a pen so tight. Pen like thunder, hand like thunder, breath like thunder, hand sliding lightning across the page. Emotions like explosions across the page. Pen like sword, ink like blood falling off the blade, syntax impact like tossed grenades. Now I know why. I had no real friends to talk to. All I had was a pen to walk me through, and I leaned on it like a crutch. And somehow, this 5.5-inch piece of plastic managed to keep me up. And I don't write revolutionary, because I was revolutionary before I ever wrote any. I don't write slam poetry, because win or lose, I am poetry. I write for me. Me then, me now, for who I'd like to be. For the little boy inside of me who just want to write till he's free. Before the hype and the fee. I used to write for free. It started when I was 12. Had to pick up my sword and fight through a religious hell. And I'm still fighting, still writing, till I'm well in 4/4 time. Or where the flow don't rhyme, I found my beat. Chord deep or short deep, I found my beach. I can see clear down to my feet and air out my beach. This is more than for your applause when you hear the sound of my speech. Cause none of y'all were there when I couldn't get a mere ounce of sleep because of the fear rolling down my cheek. I don't know, and I frankly don't care how y'all see it. I don't write for y'all. I don't write at all. This here is how I breathe.
What? Nice.
So we've just witnessed Complex, and that's such a big deal to me because he spoke about things that are those things that actually led me to write. I started writing when I was 13, and fast forwarding, I hosted my first open mic set when I was 27. I know I still look like I'm 27. However, and it was very important to me to just have that outlet in terms of writing in the first place, my pen and pad. But the open mic and that stage just made it even bigger in terms of releasing certain things that were just maybe difficult for me to talk to someone close to me about, you know, depending on the subject. So the open mics, the venues, like Peace and Cover Joe, it's so important because while I teach the youth, and Rebecca does as well, as you know, I teach the youth, and one of my favorite things to tell them is that given some of their situations, some very vulgar, that sometimes vulgar situations call for vulgar language, and of course they take full advantage of that. But this open mic outlet is just one of those things that provides that platform for you to talk about those things that mean the most to you, and you know, heartfelt matters as well as those vulgar situations that you've gone through. I've come to a place as a result of open mics and writing where I can tell you my life story in 1.5 pages, and I'm okay with that because I know what I've lived through. And so this is that platform to me. Open mic is that platform to talk to others about what you've lived through, because you never know who's sitting out there that's going through something very similar, who you're touching, who you're reaching. And yeah, I'll do this forever and ever, amen. Please believe me. So yeah, that's what it means. That's what open mics mean to me anyway. Yeah.
I'm hoping that it'll continue to do some of the great things that it's doing right now. That every week somebody who's never been to an open mic is going to find an open mic and discover poetry and the powers of poetry and decide either to continue to support the art form or to join it, get behind a microphone and change somebody's life, even if it's just their own. I often wonder where it's going though, especially as a host. You know, we see all types of things that will either excite us or scare us. We've seen people give them a microphone and they just gonna say whatever they want to say, and it might be scary and it might be crazy and it might be senseless, but it's an open mic. So that's always been the struggle. If it's an open mic, how do you censor? And the truth is that you don't. So I think it's the type of thing where you have to sort of just ride the wave. But if you care about it enough, and I say this a lot to people who abandon open mics, that by abandoning the open mic, you are letting it become whatever it can become. And I think that as artists, especially grounded artists, and I do put myself in that category, but as grounded artists and people who appreciate and respect the art, we have to stay where we are, and we have to create a standard, create expectations in the open mic so that it remains at most a space where someone can bring a message that is humorous, that is sad, that is joyous, that is celebratory, I wanted to use a big word, that is inspiring, and to make sure there's a balance. Because the last thing I would want in terms of where this could be going is an imbalance. The thing about poetry is that it counteracts a lot of the nonsense. And it's not to say that there's not foolish poetry, but for the most part, poets are really affecting some positive change. I believe that wholly. So we create a balance. And so wherever it is that it's going, I hope that we protect that balance and continue to feed people's spirit.
So we've had an opportunity to take a journey. This is the importance of the open mic scene. A hope you've enjoyed it. This is just part one. As I told you before at the very beginning, I plan to travel the country showing you so many awesome open mic venues. It's important to understand that being about the open mic is more than just poetry. You have an opportunity to act, to dance, to sing, to have your visual art shown. It's all about the importance of the art. And it's very important that we make sure we always support it. The arts give people an opportunity to truly express themselves. If only everyone knew just how important that was. The arts can save lives. Remember that. Until next time, this is Raven Akundeo, thanking you so much for joining us for the eXcape Theory. Until next time, namaste.
Posturing and threatening and questioning my right to be mad. Well, let them come for me or my people and watch the upheaval rain down. Just let them come. Can't stand in the shadows much longer. The battle is getting warmer. Let them come. Let them come. When I'm standing here waiting on the war cry, while the choppers circle around in my red sky, fly ashes, sweat ashes. The discourse is no more. We passing on to another dawn, similar to past lives. If you knew your history, then you could probably transcribe what's happening down to the millisecond. The revolution is ever present, and steady on a constant stream. The only thing that ever changes are the hues on the screen. The same scenes come through on the local news. It ain't the German shepherds now, it's the principles and the pastors too, and the local crews, and the mother, cousin, grandmother closest to you. They got a whole generation, it's a new strange fruit, thinking they bought us for a birthright. Die while their lights bright. Posturing and threatening and questioning my right to be mad. Well, let them come for me or my people and watch the upheaval rain down.